How's it going, everybody? We're here to do a tier list on Marvel Mystic Mayhem. I've been testing a lot of these characters. I got a lot of in-depth thoughts. I'm here with Chad, who is setting me straight on certain characters and leading me to some great finds that I want to share with you today. One thing I want to get into before we actually do the tier list is I want to talk about what I was doing when I was testing these characters. I was bringing them up to level 30. I was maxing out their talents as far as the green material goes, which is the max you can do at 30. I was putting the best highlight I have for those characters on, and I was putting the best artifacts I have for those characters, and I was equipping 0 of the Soul Saga, I guess except for Black Knight. But his Soul Saga, well, we have thoughts on Black Knight anyway. It doesn't help his case. So that's kind of the criteria I use while testing these characters. We led into their strengths. So if there was single target characters, we tried to do single target fights. We tried to really rely on the Eye of Nightmare, the boss fight, or the Memento Moon Knight boss fight, because that's sort of where level 30 characters were starting to, I wouldn't say struggle, but you were starting to know the differences in power levels between characters. So let's go ahead and start off our tier list, and I'm just going to start off with what I think is the best character in the game right now. And the game really wants you to have a lot of damage, and Iron Man has that damage. Yeah, Iron Man, the current banner. After I'm done this tier list, I'm actually going to make a video showcasing Iron Man in all of his glory. This guy is an absolute DPS monster. He's great for single target damage. He's amazing on AoE damage. The only downside of him is his abilities cost a little bit. But he is definitely the biggest damage dealer in the game, in my opinion. I would actually then go over to Misty Knight, because I think Misty Knight, as your free-to-play character that you start off with, she's kind of Iron Man light. I would say she's your Iron Man until you unlock Iron Man. She does pretty good AoE damage. Her ultimate does hit like a truck. She doesn't have as wide of AoE. And her setup is more annoying, where Iron Man, a couple of attacks go off and then he has an empowered skill, or his ultimate just kind of hits the entire field. Misty Knight needs to make sure there's a debuff on her enemies before she does her meaningful attacks. So it's a little bit more difficult to set up, and it's a straight line instead of being a wider berth. So I'm actually going to go ahead and slide Misty Knight in the B tier. That doesn't mean she's not great, and that doesn't mean I'm not missing something. One thing I do also want to bring up is this Soul Saga system that I was alluding to earlier. This changes characters. So although I'm doing this list and I do feel pretty informed, characters are going to evolve. Let's just look at Emma Frost, for instance.
I'll take the spotlight.
Emma Frost, on her first Soul Saga, she just gets 50% of her ultimate energy. Okay, so this is definitely going to be an evolving tier list that we'll revisit week after we get more of these characters unlocked and built up higher. So some great damage dealers there, physical AoE damage dealers, I would say. Let's now turn our attention to tanks. Juggernaut was the first 3-star character I unlocked, and I had a horrible experience with him out the gate. I didn't like his damage. He was falling over like a wet noodle. I got some max health put on him. All of a sudden, his damage skyrocketed. His survivability skyrocketed because his shield scales off all this. So Juggernaut, I'm going to save S tier for very special characters. I'm going to actually put Juggernaut in the A tier. Don't get me wrong. Amazing, 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 but not quite up there for me because he does need some really beefy supports to keep him alive. I'm actually going to put a non-3-star tank in the S tier. I'm going to put Sentry in the S tier. When I need a beefcake, I need a meat shield, and somebody who's going to do extraordinary damage, Sentry's my go-to. Sentry has helped me farm more artifacts than Juggernaut ever could. He takes the hits, he gives the hits back, and he's more easily to unlock. Sentry's an amazing character. One character I don't yet have unlocked, but I know she's amazing, is Armor. Armor, I'm going to say, not quite S tier, because I don't think she has the damage to back that up, but her survivability as a tank is second to none. I'm actually going to put her above Juggernaut for when you need that meat shield. And her spamming stun and the taunt she has is great. I had a lot of issues where Juggernaut just wasn't getting aggro. I'm glad to see Chad has agreed with me. No big fights as of yet. Now let's turn our attention to some of the tanks that I see a little bit less favorably. Hulk. Hulk is my favorite Marvel character ever. My favorite Marvel character ever. He does okay in this game. He does scale off health like Juggernaut, which is nice. He does have some debuffs. His ult is just kind of a little bit of a heal with some regen and tiny bits of damage. And his second attack is really bad. His saving grace is he does leap into battle. So he's good at getting the aggro, which he needs to do because he doesn't actually have a taunt. But there's too much downsides for me to put Hulk much higher than C tier. And he's going to be pretty low on the bottom of C tier. Joining Hulk is actually going to be Angela. When I first unlocked Angela, I was sold. I loved her. She could dash in, pull everybody in. That's a unique mechanic on her, I'll say, which does add to her value. She can give herself defense up. She can give the enemy defense down. All in all, not a bad character. Her kit is way better than Hulk's, I would say. And so I'm actually going to put her in B tier, but low end of B tier. Low end of B tier, in my opinion. Let's see, is that it for our tanks? I think that's it for our tanks. We've got duplicates of armor here for some reason. Let's move on to some of our controller characters. Let's start off with the 3-star characters. It's hard not to just automatically put a lot of these 3-star characters into the S tier. We're going to be careful not to cloud that spot too much. But Doctor Strange is my go-to best support character in the game. He has 2 different ways to heal. He can help supercharge your ultimates. His special can actually put defense down on the enemy. He feeds in so well with artifacts. And when I need a plug-and-play character for any sort of comp, he's my go-to. Whether it be a physical comp, whether it be a magical comp, he's that guy. And this is where we might get a little bit... We might get ourselves into a little bit of trouble here, okay? Emma Frost. I love Emma Frost. She's really good. But I don't think she compares to Doctor Strange, so I can't put her into the S tier. She's the highest of the high on A tier. Her heal is not the best. Her confusion mechanic on her other ability is great. And her ultimate, making your special characters just rip people apart, is really good. But as a standalone character, as a plug-and-play option, she doesn't quite get there. But she's really close. I think when I unlock Storm, who I haven't actually got to play yet, I might be changing my tune in some of these modes. But for now, I think Emma is going to rest at probably the tippy top of A. She'll probably be the highest A tier character. What other sports we got? Sleepwalker. This is your, you didn't get a great support pull yet. One of your starting characters. His kit is just okay. It's to get you by until you get a healer. He's going to go C tier. He's not bad enough to go D tier, but he's definitely not good enough to venture anywhere else. Very, very, very generic kit, in my opinion. Herb is saying D tier. I can see that, but just because he's a healer, we're going to put him a little bit higher. We'll put him a little bit higher there. All right, let's see. Any other healers that I missed? Moon Knight technically has a heal on his ult. Moon Knight does have a nice buff, increasing attack speed, so he does have some niche uses, which I don't mind. His abilities don't cost quite as much, but his damage doesn't quite get there. He's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. I think I might put him C tier. Yeah, I think he's mid C tier. I think I like Moon Knight mid C tier. I think I actually value him more than I value Hulk, so we'll make that swap. I do see some niche use cases for Moon Knight, but nothing that jumps off the board at me. One of the people Moon Knight meshes really, really well with is actually Black Knight. Now, a lot of people really, really don't like Black Knight, and I agree with them. He's trash, all right? Let's put him in D tier and just forget he exists. And we're going to do the same thing with Mr. Negative, okay? I didn't even test Mr. Negative. I looked at his abilities and said, wow, this guy looks like Dookie, all right? So we're going to go ahead and throw them both in D tier right away. So kind of bad for our melee damage characters, but there is one melee damage character who's kind of godly. Thor. Thor is amazing. When he can buff himself and start just splash damage people with lightning, he's got a great dash. His ultimate, kind of like Iron Man, just floods the entire field with damage. But he doesn't quite get to that same damage mark as Iron Man, and he's got to be in the fray. He's got to be in sort of that danger zone, and he's not super duper tanky. So he's going to be A tier. I do think I value him over Juggernaut. I mean, him and armor just serve different purposes. So depending what I was needing, if I need damage, I'm obviously going Thor over armor. If I need a tank, I'm going armor over Thor. But because of what Thor's damage can be, and because of what I see people using on leaderboards, Thor is everywhere. So I might be missing something. And guys, I am not perfect. If you think I am missing some sort of nugget of information on some of these characters, let us know in the comments so that we can all learn together. All right, after Thor, you know what? Let's go to another god of thunder, or weather in this case. Storm. I haven't unlocked Storm yet. She's one of 2 characters I don't have unlocked yet. I'm waiting till that 7th day to get her unlocked. I'm kind of coasting now on the dolphin life. I think Storm is going to be better than people think. I think her super long range AoE is great for that gold tier, but I also think that it's just kind of great for the gold tier because it's going to allow your other characters to one-shot. Her damage, it's no Iron Man, and I don't even think it's Thor. She's either going to be tippy top of B tier or bottom of A tier. But A tier is looking a little bit too crowded, so let's go ahead and we'll throw her tippy top of B tier for now. I actually think we're going to see some reworks for characters based on how people are enjoying them or not enjoying them. We're kind of all over the place. All right, let's go for another special damage dealer, Scarlet Witch, who uses magic. If I need a single target nuke, it's Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch does an absolute insane amount of damage. I would say she is the equivalent of Iron Man, but single target and special damage. Iron Man is still the best character in the game to me because he just has more wide use. Both of his attacks actually do damage, whereas Scarlet Witch can kind of set herself up for an insane burst window and like one-shot certain bosses. In fact, the only individual who's beaten the 3rd difficulty of the Eye of Nightmare used Emma Frost, who buffs magic dealers, damage dealers, Doctor Strange, who is a healer, and Scarlet Witch as the only damage dealer. And must have been in there forever because the efficiency score is trash, but got through it just because Scarlet Witch has these really strong burst windows, and you can pick who she's going to be attacking with it. All right, so I really do like Scarlet Witch. She is in that first initial offer you get for $20. That's probably the cheapest you're ever going to get one of these 3-star characters, and she's kind of good. She's kind of good. She kind of cooks. Let's talk about some other single target damage dealers. Lady Bullseye. This one is our physical damage dealer. Nowhere near as good as Scarlet Witch. Requires a lot of prep time. So basically, Lady Bullseye's whole gimmick is she's going to buff herself, and that gives her a 100% assist chance. And anytime one of your allies does a skill that does an attack or does an ultimate, she's going to assist. And when she doesn't have that buff, it's only 50%. So there's a little bit of RNG there. But I've seen her have insane damage windows. So just like Scarlet Witch, Lady Bullseye can kind of act as the solo carry in a single target fight. So I could put her with Doctor Strange to buff her damage, or Falcon to buff her damage. So I actually really do like Lady Bullseye. Not enough to put her S tier. Enough to put her A tier, but at the very, very bottom. I think that is fair at the very, very bottom. Let's talk about Falcon, because I just mentioned Falcon. Falcon buffs physical damage the same way Emma buffs magical damage or special damage, but Falcon does like 1/3 of what Emma does. Doesn't have a heal. It's kind of rough, and just trying to shoehorn him in to increase your physical damage by like 30% when there's an expose on a single target seems pretty niche, I would say. So I'm going to put him C tier just because I do not want to disrespect him by putting him with Black Knight and Mr. Negative, but I think he's going to be bottom of C tier, and I think that's fair. All right, what else do we got? We already got these two. All right, let's talk about our assist characters, because we did just do Lady Bullseye, Psylocke. Psylocke is a lot like Lady Bullseye, except both of her attacks are dashes, and you need to perform one of her attacks to give her a buff so that she'll do a follow-up assist attack. But she cranks out a lot of damage. I don't think she can be your solo carry damage, and she has a lot of mismanaged synergies, because I would really want to put Psylocke with Emma, but for some reason Emma's abilities, although they do damage, they don't call Psylocke in to do an assist. I keep finding that I'm trying to make Psylocke work when other characters can kind of fit the role better. I've started to find that Thor fits the role better. Now I know Psylocke is just more available from a free-to-play perspective, so if you don't have Thor, Psylocke's great, but I don't think I can put her on the A tier just as a straight sort of unbiased take the money out of it, take the lucky RNG out of it. I don't think she's A tier. I think she's B tier. I think she's super high B tier, bordering A. She would be like one step below Lady Bullseye, in my opinion. So to another assist character, Echo. God, Echo's kit. Again, it's like the poor man's Lady Bullseye or Psylocke. Didn't quite enjoy my play with her. She does crank out a good amount of damage. Her synergy with like Lady Bullseye and Spider-Man, you can't deny it. Like, I got into sort of a flow state on the Eye of Nightmare where I was just popping off like crazy, a sister going nuts, and I scored a pretty high score, but it was all Lady Bullseye. Echo kind of was, you know, facilitating Lady Bullseye because Spider-Man would lower her cooldown and Echo would get attacks off, and both of her things are attacks. And so she would get more assists from the Lady Bullseye, but on her own, as a damage dealer, didn't quite do it, and she can't really tank anything. So besides certain boss fights, if we're trying to use her with like an assist comp, I think she's going to get wrecked. So I'm kind of feeling Echo bottom of B for me. Now, I did bring up Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is kind of the character I'm most offended by as far as my testing goes. Why do people keep trying to make Spider-Man a controller? Spider-Man should not be a controller. Spider-Man is an insane damage dealer in the comics. This guy has punched Hulk into outer space. Why do we relegate him to decreasing other characters' cooldowns by 1 and getting an assist called in if somebody hits into his webbing, which he only does on his ultimate, I believe? Pretty disrespectful. Spider-Man's B tier. He's not C tier. I think he works good with like a Lady Bullseye comp. I would maybe do like Spider-Man, Lady Bullseye, and Doctor Strange together. I could see that playing pretty well. And even that, there's not a lot of abilities between the two of them that'll get Lady Bullseye off to the races. I think Spider-Man's mid B. Yeah. Above Echo, above Angela, above Misty. We'll slop them right there. And I do mean slop. Very disappointed in Spider-Man's performance here. Doppelganger, another single target character. I love Doppelganger. I really do. I love his solo play. He gets his ult. His abilities cost less. He does defense down. He does a whack load of damage. But once you start unlocking other characters, you start seeing how underwhelming all of that is. Just to get his ultimate so his abilities cost less to get a defense down, where Doctor Strange does that on his second ability. Where Angela does that on her ult. The defense down isn't as special as it was in the alpha. Yeah, Doppelganger falls off. He doesn't quite keep up with it. So I'm going to put him at the bottom of C tier. I think I will put him above Falcon, because I think the defense down that Doppelganger does will outpace the Falcon's expose. Potentially. Actually, no, I won't. No. Doppelganger falls off that much. He really does. All right. What does that leave us with? All right, Dream Queen. People are sleeping on Dream Queen. I've been looking at other people's tier lists. Mine looks nothing like theirs, by the way. I think Dream Queen is being slept on. I think she is an amazing partner to Scarlet Witch. So the way Dream Queen can kind of reset your deck that you have and you get extra energy, you can get 2 big burst windows out of Scarlet Witch. So if you go Emma with Witch and Dream Queen and you drop that Emma ultimate, pop off your Scarlet Witch combo, Dream Queen ultimate, pop off another Scarlet Witch combo, things shred, things melt. Now, the downside of that is, I mean, it's hard to shoehorn her in next to a character like Scarlet Witch or a character, I mean, it doesn't really go good with Thor, but it's hard to mix her in with a character who wants to do one of those damage window phases. I guess she can kind of go okay with somebody like Psylocke. That third character is so much more important. It's hard to find a spot for her. I don't think she's deserving of A tier, but I don't think she's deserving of bottom of B tier either. I think I will actually put her over Spider-Man in this case. She's pretty good. The brief interactions I had with her were actually pretty solid. All right, and that's just going to leave us with our summoners. Okay, we'll do her last because we get her day 2. Man-Thing. Man-Thing is probably the weakest of the summoners. It's hard to really utilize his kit. I didn't really enjoy it while I was playing with the summoner team, and I did do a full summons team. It was great looking at the field covered with things, but it was very noticeable how Man-Thing, his healing was rough to get to the right units. The damage of his summons is missing. He has this really awkward dash. I did not like Man Thing. I'm actually going to drop him back into the D tier with the other rejects, but he's at least better than all of them, okay? They're trash. They're super trash. Thread was great. Thread did an insane amount of damage. I really liked how on the summoner team, he would direct where the summoners go. So he would actually direct, and the Dino would go there, and the hand of the Eye of Nightmare would absolutely melt. The damage he did was great. I loved how we could choose which summon would come out, whether it be the melee summon or the range summon. So if I wanted to not clog up the battlefield, I could put a range summon kind of out there where it wouldn't get targeted down super fast. I thought Thread was fantastic. I think the height of B. I can't disrespect Psylocke like that. I think Thread will go second place B. I really like what he was bringing, but Moon Girl and Devil Dino, the damage oh my god. The damage here was crazy. When I had the summoner team going and they were getting buffs, like Thread increases the damage of the summons. I think Man Thing does as well. And the Devil Dino just went absolutely haywire, went bonkers. I think that the Devil Dino one-shot the second difficulty with Devil Dino only being level 30, instead of matching the requirement to get in there. So I will put Devil Dino and Moon Girl in A tier, above Lady Bullseye, above Juggernaut, above Armor. I can't disrespect the God of Thunder like that. Thor is going to stay in the second place. And this is going to be my tier list, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you have any strong disagreements. If I'm completely off on these three characters, please let me know how and why. I would love to make them better. And for Spider-Man, if you got a niche use for Spider-Man that's just kicking ass, please let me know. Hope you enjoyed the footage that went along with this video. And I just hope you guys are enjoying Marvel Mystic Mayhem. But for now, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video where we will be showcasing the awesomeness of Iron Man. I know. He's kind of like purchase only or get super lucky, but we cannot deny how impactful he can be, and I want to share that information with you guys. All right, bye for now. Hey, subscribe to the channel. It's a new channel. Let's get it rocking. All right, bye, everybody.